Let me start by saying how God moved me to start new churches in the first place. I knew it had to be a miracle because I didn't have the wisdom or the strength or anything else to do things on my own. So I just decided what I was going to do was just have the Lord do it all for me. And he was going to have to show me where to go, which place would be a new church, how long it should stay. And for us, it was coming to Elliott was going to be number 5. And Lord willing, we had decided that it was going to be more than that. We were going to have to leave Elliott and go on. And then we came to Elliott, and there was no information beyond that. There was no come and help us start a church. It was all, and God says it's all done. You're finished.
You weren't finished.
Well, no, it was kind of like that because I kind of felt like with Joel, and we knew God had given us just the right one to come and take my place. And I said, well, I'll be able to go on and start another new church. Mm-hmm. But God didn't provide for us, and He literally stopped us and said, here we go. Mm-hmm. But this is as far as you'll go with a new church, right here.
Because we needed you.
Yeah, we needed it.
We needed you.
We loved it, and we couldn't have wanted more. Mm-hmm. And the fishing was good, so that helped.
I don't know, for me it started when I told God I couldn't do something. And 9 years before Elliott started, I was sitting at a Dover Baptist service. I was in the Navy, I was single. And right at the beginning of the service, the pastor called 5 or 6 couples, families up front. And I said, boy, that's a big chunk of leadership there. What are they doing? And he said, I'm announcing today that these families are not leaving, but they're being sent out to start a church in Durham. And they talked about what that meant. And I thought, Lord, why are they leaving a perfectly good church and start another one? And I said, I couldn't do that. There's no way in the world I could do that. And then 9 years later, it was the missionary conference in May, I think, of '83. And Stan and Donna were part of the service, and Stan preached, and he told us that he was praying where to go to start his next church. And then our pastor got up and said, he's coming here to start a church. And I remember looking at Lynn, we just smiled, and I said, Elliott. And it was just like, it was like miraculous. He just...
I was at the same service, and Dover Baptist was my salvation church. I was extremely happy there. Couldn't imagine that I would ever want to leave. And it was just like that instant that I felt that the Lord wanted us to start a church in Elliott. I couldn't believe that I was so excited about this work when I was so happy where I was. But and God just seemed to. It has been just an incredible journey. I just never dreamed, and as I said, I was a fairly new believer, so I had no idea what I was going to learn from this experience, and it was wonderful.
That's great.
God used Dover Baptist in a big way, not just to provide the resources to start our church, but there were men there that invested significant amounts of time in my life. Pastor Quinn and Otho Wells in particular. And I think a lot of the families that started this church benefited from the discipleship and love that we received from Dover. Dover was my first experience. It was the church I was saved in. I had no idea of what church life was about. And looking back on that, I was so excited about starting Elliott that I managed to lose connection with some of those men that had spent so much time investing their lives in my life. And I had no idea of what the impact of those families, active families, giving families, that was a big impact on Dover, and I had no appreciation for that, and I wished I had more appreciation, and I wished I'd kept more contact, but they were a real strength in my life. I'm thankful.
The Lord raised you all up, and that was exciting. It might have been that very same week we got another phone call, and it said, can you meet at Ann and Dick Carpenter's house? There's a group of people there that would like to talk to you about starting the new church. And we did. And the Lord continued to provide a place for us to live. Everything just like that, it happened.
We felt so blessed to find the Grange to meet in, but it was setting up, taking down. There was a little windy staircase that led to downstairs. We had a bathroom that had one flush. We had mice and snakes. And we'd have to dust the cribs off and get the mice droppings off before people saw them really quickly, and snakes ran around in the trash cans while we taught Sunday school and did nursery duty. That's my memory of the Grange.
It was so nice when the Congregational Church allowed us to go in there for Sunday school, because they didn't have a Sunday night service, and that was really nice.
$25 a night.
Yeah, pretty good. And then when we lost they told us we couldn't meet in the Grange because they'd lost their furnace and they couldn't afford it. And the power company came just at that time and asked them if they could buy this small portion of their parking lot. And it was the cost of a new furnace that they had. And I thought, that was just like the first thing besides finding the Grange and finding a house for you people, God he just kept moving.
We made the commitment that we wanted to, as part of your retirement, to have a house owned and paid for, and we included in your salary enough to support a mortgage. And we felt that was really important.
Yep, and a lot of pastors don't have a home that's paid for when they retire or go on. Like Phil just said, the church did not want a parsonage. They felt that a pastor needed to have investment in his own home. And here we are, in our own home that's been paid for. So true. Thank you.
What was that journey? Because then you guys went from the Grange, you started.
Lynn and I knew a lady that was a realtor who was really, really sweet, and we told her of our needs, and she went all over Elliot. And then she decided one day to talk to Fred Schultz. And I don't know if somehow she got him convinced that he'd be willing to sell 3 acres to us for $64,000. And that's where we are today.
So guys, can you share a little bit then about, okay, so now you got land and now you're gonna build a building and you gotta have money for that building and many things with that. Please share some of those stories of stepping out on faith and all that took to see that happen.
I started talking to Old Maine National Bank. The branch manager was Lynn's first boyfriend. And really nice guy. And so I sat down with him and we went through everything, and I said, what does it take for us to get a loan from you? And he just sort of shook his head and he said, they don't want to foreclose on a church. We can't do it. And one day I was driving by and I noticed it said, next home for Kennebunk Savings Bank. You're gonna build a branch there. I said, they're gonna give us a loan. And so I called Stan, and we got all the same figures together. And then we finished, and she looked at us and said, every time We open a branch bank. We try to fund something that would help the community. I think you're it. Give us 2 weeks. And we closed in about 2 weeks after that and had the money. And it was just a miracle. And here we are.
I think initially, though, men had to sign for the original loan. Church members had to put themselves on the line. Three men of which are sitting here had to all co-sign for that loan along with a few others for us to be able to start. That was scary.
It's called faith.
I know. Whoops.
And commitment. Commitment. Yeah.
I'm stuttering over my words even now, but God did so much, and then what He's done for Joel and Heather and their family, and the ministry that God's provided through them is part of God's story to us. And Joel and Heather, you're part of that story, and a wonderful, wonderful story. And we thank you together for all your work of ministry, and what a joy that's been to us.